Liverpool coast past Atalanta as Jota got a hat-trick and United get stuffed inside of Turkey. This is Talk Football, and I'm your host of the most, Tinashe. And I'm joined as ever by my co-hosts, Shihab and Nabi. How are you guys doing? Starting with you, Nabi. How are you doing?
Yeah, doing okay as
Good.
much as I can.
Yeah, not been a great week of football for you, has it?
No, especially on my birthday week as well.
Yeah. Well, I guess congratulations.
It was on
Happy
the day
birthday.
itself, wasn't it? It was on the day of your birthday, wasn't it?
Yeah,
Yeah.
The loss
it was.
Happy birthday. Nabi, I know we've wished you happy before, but
from
not on the
Turkey.
pod. Yeah. Well, I'm not actually in Turkey for those listening, just in case you. But yeah, and we've also joined by Shabs. How you doing, mate?
Yeah, very good, very good. Things are going well football-wise on my side of the table, so great.
Good, good. It was a great performance in midweek, actually, from especially Jota.
Surprising
Hat-trick.
as well. I
Yeah,
was very surprised.
I think he's really putting a case to bench Firmino, and start
But we'll get into that later on.
start him. Um, But yeah, so just sort of before we kick off, so some housekeeping that we normally do. So please, we'll put our socials in the descriptions. Those who are listening on YouTube, please make sure to like, to comment. Even if you're listening on Spotify or on Apple Podcasts, please like and comment, as every single like will help us. Reach more people, coming through recommendations, etc., etc. So please, do like it. Only takes a second, and you don't have to pay for it. It's completely free, and it helps us grow as well. So yeah, please make sure to follow us in our socials. Like I said, they'll be in the descriptions, and like, interact, and follow. So getting right into it, we don't have any predictions to look at. So yeah, I was just thinking if there was any. Nope. I guess just starting off with the Arsenal game. Really looking ahead to this weekend, so the fixtures before the international break. Because I think this is the last weekend we have, and then we're off for 2 weeks, isn't it?
Yeah, another 3 international games as well, which is
Yeah,
crazy in my opinion.
yeah,
But
completely agree.
is what it is.
But yeah, just sort of starting off with the Arsenal game. I'm not sure if there's anything you guys wanna.
Just want to hear your thoughts on how you expect Arsenal to maybe differ in the weekend compared to how they were last weekend against United, and
United.
any changes
I,
based on the different teams that they're going to face.
I do think, as well as the midfield of El Neni and Thomas Partey dominated at Old Trafford, I don't think we'll go with that midfield, because I do think that those two will be they will be a really good partnership for certain games, but not every single game. So with Villa, I do expect that they will sit back quite a bit. So to have Thomas Partey and El Neni in again, I don't see that being a good combo. I would probably put in someone like a Dani Ceballos next to him. In terms of formation, well, with Arteta, he never actually really commits to saying what his formation is. They always ask him before the game, and he always laughs and just sort of laughs it off, saying, "Well, I'm not gonna tell you." But I do expect the similar three at the back that he had against United, that sort of 3-4-3. But then even against United, it was a little bit fluid. Well, it's always fluid in terms of the formation. But yeah, I do expect some changes in the middle. In the middle of the park, David Luiz is now back fit. Um, I don't know if I would bring him in straight away, because Rob Holding played really well. Gabriel played really well. Tierney played really well at Old Trafford. So dropping them, I don't see how dropping any of them would be really fair, considering the three of them got a clean sheet as well. So I would potentially want to go with the same back four and the same two um, wing backs in Saka and Bellerin. Yeah, Bellerin had a really good game as well at Old Trafford, overlapping, underlapping. Um, And then yeah, I think for me the main thing is midfield. I will personally go with Ceballos and Partey um, rather than Partey and El Neni again. This one I'll put El Neni on the bench, and then potentially see. Again, I'm a little bit hesitant coming across this way because it all comes down to what formation Arteta goes. He could essentially end up going 4-3-3 with three midfielders. Actually playing in midfield, I hope this time, rather than having them covering the wings like he did against Leicester. Um, but yeah, it's gonna be tricky. And I think even in the middle of the park, we should be fine in terms of Grealish's threat. I do suspect Thomas Partey to do his thing and manhandle him out the game. Um, so yeah, in terms of the changes, Lacazette, I expect him to start again. Pepe, I think it'll potentially depend on how well he does tonight. Yeah, for those listening, we are recording Thursday evening. Yeah, so it'll depend on how he does it tonight, really. Um, but yeah, those are essentially the changes, minimum that I'm kind of expecting, really.
Is there any worry about the lack of goals in the league?
For me, yeah. Um, we're not scoring a lot. We're not conceding a great deal either, but I don't see that. Yeah, it's not sustainable. So for me, definitely it is. It is a worry. Whether the remedy short term, I think I mentioned in the last pod, for me would be to sort of use that Liverpool style that they did before, in the sense that they created before their chances from forcing the opposition into mistakes in really good positions, which then essentially allowed for a quick turnover. Trent has got the ball, edge of the 18-yard box, just whips it in or whichever. So because that's essentially what I think was deployed against United. So yeah, yeah, it is
Do
a
you think it's
worry.
time to see a bit more of a attacking approach this time? I know with the United game, Arsenal went 1-0 out, but then and then put a lot of pressure on in the first half. To be fair,
Mhm.
but second half it was a
Tailed off,
counter-attacking
tailed off
approach,
completely.
and kind of yeah. So it went back to kind of the old style that you've had for most of the season. So I'm wondering, is this the kind of game where it's time to put his stamp on it, put his own style on it. Where when he just came in, you kind of thought this was going to be a Pep Guardiola kind of style, and it's not kind of materialized just yet. So I'm wondering, is this the kind of game to put that style in place?
Yeah, could argue, yes. I mean, we discussed this when Corin was on, when we are looking at, when is he going to have the chance to sort of start switching the formation to the one that he wants. So I do think home games against the so-called lesser sides is probably the best chance to do that. So yeah, I definitely would do that, sort of, because even sort of listening to his interview after the United game, it kind of sounds like he was a little bit surprised with how well El Neni did, Gabriel did, and Partey. So if that's just due to him, I don't want to say lack of trust, but not, especially with Partey, not having worked with him that well, not realizing sort of what he can and cannot do within his team. Um, I'm sure the United game would have built up a lot of confidence in that, he can then sort of change the formation to allow more responsibility to Partey, um, to be able to sort of leave him at the base by himself, and whether you have either a pivot or you have Partey as a one supporting the two ahead of him. But I would probably play Partey in a two-man pivot. Um, him and I don't know if I would have Xhaka, but him and someone, and then Ceballos ahead of them with the three at the top. And even there, I think my biggest one, I would want to see Pepe over Willian, because for me that's more attacking. Willian is okay as he is on the ball. He is still sort of a little bit reserved, not as exciting as Pepe. So yeah, I would like to see Pepe on. But yeah, I'm hoping that he tries something tonight. which he can then sort of implement at the weekend.
Would there be any worry that if Arsenal try and open the game up more, then Aston Villa might do what they did against Liverpool?
Yeah, this is the thing, but I guess the beauty of us is we don't play the high line that Liverpool play, so that won't necessarily be as much of a worry. Because even if you look at some of the balls that the Aston Villa's players were getting to go through on Liverpool, it wasn't like balls over the top. It was literally balls continuously down Liverpool's right hand side. Some of them were even passing to players in the Aston Villa half who were then turning and driving. So yeah, and we play, like I said, we play a lot deeper than Liverpool do. So even if they were to hit balls over the top, I don't know if you guys have seen recently Leno's positioning. He's now playing a lot higher as well when we're out of position. Obviously depending on where the ball is on the pitch. So he can also be that sort of sweeper keeper if needed. So it doesn't worry me as much. I guess this goes back. I don't know if we had this discussion on the pod or if it was in the group chat where Robbie was asking whether I think Arsenal are going to be at the end of a drubbing this season. And I was like, I don't see it. Like, no, I do see as we are going to lose quite a few games, but I don't think we're going to get a 6-1 or a 5-0 or anything like that because, yeah, just because of how defensive we are at the moment. Everything is quite tightened up at the moment. So, yeah, and it will be a battle of the keepers, won't it, as well? You have Martinez who will be wanting to prove his point to Arsenal, which has me a bit on edge because I do feel like he could end up pulling an absolute blinder, having one of those games of his life kind of thing.
I think you'll have to try and beat the wall of Martinez.
Wow, how much of a wall he's shipped seven goals in the last 2 games. So I'm not sure how much of a wall that is, to be honest. But yeah, it is what it is, I guess. But I'm I don't want to say I'm optimistic because this always comes back and bites me, but I am a little bit optimistic.
But shouldn't you be at home to Aston Villa? Like,
Yeah, but
shouldn't Arsenal be in a position where they should be optimistic?
it goes back to the point that Nabi was making about the goal scoring. That if is that a word? That's the only thing. If I'm honest, I think the worst that will happen is a draw for Arsenal. Um, but yeah,
It'll come down to how Arsenal can stop Grealish. I think
yeah,
Grealish floats around a lot, and where Arteta might put Partey and tell him, "Look, if when you're off the ball, you're basically marking Grealish every time," or if he does it a bit more positional, where Grealish might end up on the left, which he does a lot, which is him basically up against Bellerin and Holding,
that's Partey's side as
and
well
I would
because
favour Grealish,
Partey plays on our
but he
right hand
might
side.
leave them to cover him rather than Partey stick in the middle. So if he does that, then it might leave Grealish against both of them, which I would favour Grealish in that.
Yeah,
But
I'm not sure. I'm not sure if we. Sorry.
I wouldn't necessarily say Partey versus Grealish is a done deal in terms of Partey is going to win that battle.
Mhm.
I think Grealish is good enough to also win that battle. So I think it'll be an interesting one.
It will be interesting. But yeah, I do kind of back Partey to do the job, and I do hear what you're saying, but I do kind of think he will approach it quite similarly to the way we did Pogba when United had the ball, in the sense that you get Partey's job was to keep an eye on Pogba, so just make sure that when we do have the ball, um, Partey, even if he is coming in from the left, that's Partey's side anyway. Just make sure you're on your man and you know where he is, and even if it means doubling up on him. Bellerin is there as well. Willian, I assume, will be down that side as well, and he tends to track back to support Bellerin.
Might open up other areas of the pitch for Villa though, possibly.
Possibly, but then you then start to look at who then has the quality apart from Jack Grealish to. Um,
John McGinn's not bad. I don't know if he's been playing or if he's injured or not. Barkley's done well since he's come in, and Ollie Watkins looks decent enough player. So On their day, they do have the threat going forward.
Yeah, but that's the thing. You're talking about
Outside of Grealish.
decent enough players as opposed to one who's really, really good. Like that. I guess that's decent enough players are usually a hit and miss. Whereas with Jack Grealish, you make the runs, you create the space, he will perform. You know, he will perform. Yeah, but to be honest, a lot of that, my opinion on that is probably based on the fact that I probably don't watch Villa enough to know sort of his game in and out, inside out. But I am confident that if we were to stick party on it, would be able to keep him relatively quiet. But yeah, I'm not sure. Do you guys have any more questions on that?
Not on my side, no.
No. So I guess we'll take predictions. Starting with you, Nabi. What are your predictions for the game?
I'll go 2-2. Player to watch, Grealish.
Shubs?
I'll go 2-1 Arsenal and play to watch Bamiyang.
And I'm going to go 2-0. Player to watch, Saka. He will come good one of these weeks. Yeah, so moving on, next fixture on the list is the Everton United game. So each game is getting bigger and bigger for United, I kind of feel at the moment, especially consider on the last sort of two fixtures. If this sort of form continues, these performances continue, um, how are you feeling, Nabi? Or I guess sort of just starting off with the team lineup, are you expecting any changes?
Well,
A
it's
from
hard to
the
say now.
from the Arsenal game and the midweek.
It's hard to say now. It's constantly changing. I would say this is a must. It's pretty much a must win. They need to win. They need to start getting the points on the board. So I'd put it down as a must win. Team lineup, I think it'll be back to the usual defence: De Gea in goals, Wan-Bissaka, Lindelof, Maguire, Shaw, and then in front of him is the question, because he went in midweek. He went back to just Matic, and then they had the two freeze like goals that they conceded. Which I'm not putting on Matic, but that's what seemed to happen when they have Matic in the team. It just seems to open the game so much more up.
Do you think it's because they or Ole then gives license to other players to start bombing forward because you have someone disciplined at the base of midfield? But
Well, it
obviously
seemed to be
the
in
issue.
midweek. Like, you know what?
Sorry.
No, finish. Go on.
No, I was gonna say yeah, because yeah, I forgot what I was gonna say actually. Sorry. Anyway, you were
I
saying
was gonna. In FIFA, you can like change the settings of your style of play. So you can go like all out attack. You
yeah,
can put it all the way to there. And that's what United seemed to be. Like everyone
go
was
forward.
in either in the box or outside of the box for that goal where Demba Ba was free as you like. It was just so
Yeah,
strange and
because I was speaking to another United fan, and he was saying that at what's his name, Whelan, someone called Whelan, some Greg
Mike
Whelan,
Whelan,
Mike
yeah.
was shouting at
feeling.
Matic. Phelan, yeah, he was shouting at
Yeah,
Matic.
Mike Phelan, yeah.
He was shouting at Matic to get back to Demba Ba, and Matic just completely ignored him. Completely ignored him. So it could be the fact that okay, someone recognized it, but it seems whether there's a disjoint between the playing staff and the coaching staff, or there's a. And the person also made a really good point. Actually, they said it seems like United players are very mood-based players. If you're in a
Oh
good
yeah.
mood, you're literally unbeatable. You're unplayable. But if the mood is down, it's the complete opposite as well. Like it's almost like you can't play football because some of the defending, some of the clips that I sent you, or the pictures that I sent you guys, you could see some of the positioning, especially for obviously you've got Debaba's goal, even the second goal. You had Maguire in the right centre back position. Luke Shaw as well was in the right? I could not understand it.
Yeah, I don't think you can put those two goals on like the management. Those are on the players. How
Yeah,
can the players themselves give the opposition that much space? You
yeah,
just have to be
yeah.
more aware yourself.
I'm convinced Ollie did not did not sit before the game and say, "Yeah, guys, this is how you defend when we're counter attacked. You know, you all move to the one side of the pitch and leave this side." I'm with you on that. Which then brings a question to me: do you think Maguire is a fit captain for them? Because I guess even if you heard Rio talking about it after the game, this is even the first goal. This is something that you're screaming at someone. You know, someone should be sitting on Demba Ba. Whether you take that responsibility upon yourself and you go do it yourself, or you tell someone else to do it, someone should be sitting on Demba Ba. And even again, the positioning for the second goal. Um,
Yeah,
yeah,
well, I don't like. I think Wan-Bissaka should be there. He's the least effective attacking, and he's the best tackler, so it makes sense that he should be there.
he was the one
But
crossing the ball as well.
yeah, I can't remember exactly what happened. But I
No, he
think he
crossed the
should
ball,
be
it got
the
cut out, got played back, and then it got pinged first time to Demba Ba.
yeah. But well, also going back on that point about the mood, yeah, I completely agree with that. You can see with the players, they just when it isn't going their way, they don't do enough to turn it around. I mean, I think Bruno's really the only one that will run around trying to make things happen, but he can't do it all on it. If you're getting nothing from anyone
But
else,
didn't
there's
he
only
have a
so
really
much he
bad
can
game
do.
as well?
Like, if there's only so much he can do if he's not getting
Yeah,
anything from anyone else. He can't do it all on his own.
if the players aren't
I
making
heard
the
Twanzebe had a
runs,
pretty
makes
poor
sense.
game too. Is that right? Twanzebe had a pretty poor game. He came off after 60 or so minutes, wasn't
I wouldn't say he had a poor because he had the one the mistake when Ba was through and he brought him down and he got booked. And apparently that's why he got taken off at half time because Solskjaer was like, we need to take more risks and Twanzebe's on a booking. So if we have to take anyone off, we'll take him off. Because
Yeah.
then they moved Matic to centre back and brought McTominay in the midfield. So I think that's why he got taken off.
Did
I wouldn't say that
Donny van de Beek start?
he did. He got 60 minutes,
Mhm.
which I don't know if that meant he gave him 60 because I need him in the league, so I'll take him off after 60. Because if he doesn't start in the league, I think it's a very strange decision to take Donny off after 60 minutes
Mhm.
when they're losing.
Yeah,
So
because
from that,
not to go back to it though, but I think we sort of decided, even some of the decisions he made against Arsenal as well were very very strange. Taking Bruno Fernandes off when you need a goal. Um, but but
yeah,
sorry.
the subs can be odd at times, like the timing of them, but the players themselves need to try and turn things around. They don't try enough.
In terms of I guess the question I'd asked in terms of captain material, would you still
Yeah, about
think?
Maguire. I still think Maguire is our most leadership person, but obviously it's not being
he? Would you
shown.
say Bruno is?
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Because even some
Well,
of the stuff you've said about Bruno in the past, you know, like when you lose, he seems to be like the one who gets really hurt by it the most out of everyone. He's always seeming to be the one sort of rallying the troops, kind of trying to get everyone, you know, to put that final push in, whether you need a goal or whatever. Whereas Maguire doesn't seem like that type of character.
I think Bruno would be second in line. I think I don't know, it'd be a bit controversial to suddenly take it off Maguire and then give it to Bruno while Maguire is still in the team. I think that'll just add extra
I think the
uncertainty.
Unrest as
problem
well.
is there are no really real leaders, are there? If you think about it.
To be fair, I would give Bruno the benefit of the doubt and say he's one who leads by
Apart from Bruno,
example.
but
Yeah,
normally you have like four or five, maybe even six or seven who are decent enough and show themselves on the pitch.
yeah,
Not
that's true.
always captain material, but show a lot on the pitch. I
A
wouldn't
lot of
say
Well,
many of
character.
those United players do that.
that's when things are going well. It's about when things are not going well will they stand up.
Yeah, I guess that's where you need that person who isn't afraid to step into the, because it's almost like at the moment the limelight is sort of just going around the United team, and no one is saying, you know what, stop it on me. We need to sort this out. This, and you would expect that from your captain to step into the light when things aren't going well. But yeah,
But
I sorry.
I was going to say that's when they need like people like Pogba and Martial to do more, especially Pogba, because everyone he should know how much is on him, so he needs to try and pull out the bag a bit more than he does.
That's
Just
true.
way too casual about things.
But to be fair, with him, I see similarities in Ozil, not in level or anything. I mean more in the body. You know, sometimes when he's running, he doesn't look like he's running full speed. He just looks like he's jogging. And sometimes I see what you're saying. Like he almost looks like when he gets the ball, you know, he's lackadaisical. But he's always been like that his whole career. So it's he got him where he is today. Um, but
They all
yeah,
slow it down a bit too much, I feel.
too many touches
The
on the
ball
ball.
slows down in the midfield, and then you got Rashford coming in deep to try and pick up the ball, whereas he should be running off the defenders and trying to create
Going
more space
behind.
and things like that. Going behind, yeah. So there's a lot of issues, I think, tactically as well as the players themselves.
So how
Whether that's on the players or tactics, I'm not sure.
looking ahead to the Everton game, Nabi, how do you think Ole should approach this to be able to get you guys a win?
Well, I think one is Van de Beek has to play.
Right. Okay.
Another, like I think the thing I mentioned before about putting Rashford on the bench to have him
Come on.
to use him later. I think that's something they could explore as well.
I'm not sure Rashford would be keen on that. To be fair.
But it doesn't have to be like a long-term thing. It's just something they can try out for now to see how it works.
But
Because obviously,
who would you play? Obviously Martial is back now as well, isn't he?
yeah, now they've got Martial back, so they've got that option. They've got Greenwood. I'm not sure where Cavani's fitness is at, but I'd like to see him get more game time
And
rather
to
than
be fair
coming
to
on.
him, he does look relatively sharp-ish. Like based on a few games run arounds rather than games, I should say, running arounds that I've seen him doing. It looks like he's going to be better than what Cavani was, than what Falcao was. Sorry. Anyway, whether he sort of goes to the Ibrahimovic level, I guess we'll see. But I generally think he would definitely contribute quite a bit more than what Falcao did.
Falcao did.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'd like to see Cavani get more time. So maybe get Cavani, Martial in together, give Rashford off the bench.
So is
Obviously
that
play Van
Martial
de Beek.
starting from the left? Because he likes
Mm,
playing down the middle, doesn't he?
It would have to be though, wouldn't it?
Yeah, that's
Unless
what
you
I'm
have a front
thinking.
two.
That's what I'm thinking.
I
unless they
can't
try
imagine
the
putting Cavani down the left.
Yeah.
no, I was saying they could try the diamond again with Van de Beek and just have Cavani, Martial up front. Maybe Fred, uh, Fred and Matic in the middle, Fred on the left, Van de Beek on the right, and then Fernandez at the tip.
And the
You
beacon
think
on the
that's the
right.
best
And then
system for you guys?
I'm not sure it's the best. It's something they can try.
yeah.
Or they can even go 4-2-3-1 with I don't know, Fred, McTominay, and then Van de Beek, Fernandez, and you could try Martial from the left.
Yeah, I would say 4-2, because you still, I kind of feel, need that protection, because without it, depending on what type team Everton Ancelotti puts out, it could potentially be
Well, you
because
got Dominic Calvert-Lewin
yeah, well,
up
I
top,
guess with
which is
that,
going to
that's
be
what
tough to deal with.
you'd expect.
Well, if
What's his name?
If
Maguire.
James doesn't play,
Mm.
then Calvert Lewis is kind of their only real threat. And I don't know if you saw all of Calvert Lewin's goals have come in the penalty box and within the width of the goals.
Mhm. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, he's an inside the box poacher type kind of goal scorer.
But with his qualities, though, that's the kind of thing you would expect him to do. What's that noise? That's a thing you would expect him to do, you know. But
Yeah, well, so I think what they'd have to do then stop Calvert Lewin getting the ball in the box and stop Sigurdsson shooting.
yeah,
I think that would be the two main threats on the day. And if they can neutralise those, and then they've got a good chance of just nicking the goal where it
That's where
went.
you'd kind of expect Maguire to sort of step in for that. Obviously, to just man mark Calvert Lewin on everything, crosses, corners, etc., etc. Because um, do you think anyone else could potentially man mark? Because the way I'm looking at it is essentially the way Liverpool kind of did it. With um, VVD, he was on um, Dominic Calvert-Lewin. And
Well,
I know it was only 11 minutes, but the whole time VVD was on the pitch, Calvert-Lewin didn't really do anything.
yeah, they could put Maguire, and they could play Maguire with Twanzebe, who I think is stronger in the air than Lindelof. Lindelof, I think that's his weakness is in the air. I don't know where. I don't know. I think Bailly is probably still injured, so that leaves you could play
Is
Maguire with
is Lucas
Twanzebe.
Digne back for this game?
Yes.
Because he's obviously a big crossing threat, isn't he? To be honest. So I think the last game Everton lost. After they lost, didn't they? 1-0 to Newcastle. Well, no, it was 2-1 to Newcastle. Sorry.
2-1, yeah.
And I feel like the loss of Digne was big for them, and they obviously hadn't got Hammers as well. So you got two of their most creative players who can cross the ball and find a pass out the game, and they kind of took Calvert-Lewin a lot out the game a lot as well. So I think having him back will help Everton there,
Yeah, what are you talking
and
about?
United will need to cover
They've got
that side of the pitch.
they've got Iwobi. No.
Oh, what a player he is!
Yeah.
Isn't
I know, right? I'm actually so glad. What was it 35 mil? I think that Arsenal got for him from or 40 mil from Everton.
So he
Uh,
started off at Everton well, but then obviously when the better players came in, he's been pushed aside.
yeah. Well, I mean, Everton fans will tell you differently. Because I've kind of you see on Twitter most times after an Everton game, Iwobi would be trending, but not for good reasons. It would essentially be just their fans complaining about how Arsenal pretty much wronged them by selling him for 40 million. Um,
But yeah, I think it'll be a tight game.
right, yeah.
It'll be a nervy game.
I think it'll be
It'll be down to
nervy.
who wins that midfield battle, wouldn't it?
Yeah, it'll be nervy for United for sure, and I think the game is there for Everton to win, depending on the mindset that they approach the game with. If they come out all guns blazing, heading straight for your throat, I think they could potentially get a result. But if they come in a little bit tentative, a little bit unsure, it'll give you guys the confidence to sort of grow into the game. I think it's one where they kind of need to come in, get an early goal to sort of try and keep your confidence low, if you will.
Yeah,
But
because another factor is like the traveling from Istanbul, because they played Wednesday and then they're playing Saturday early afternoon. And even Ancelotti has come out and said that Everton will get an advantage from that.
yeah, but that's happening with every team in Europe. So whether to use that as an excuse or not, I'm not sure, to be honest.
I don't say an excuse, but I think it will. I can definitely see them lagging in the game. I don't see them running
In
about
terms
all
of
the
the
time. I
start,
don't.
yeah, I would say potentially it will have an impact on the start. That's why I'm kind of saying that you'd expect Everton to start on the front foot and sort of take the game to United. Yeah, because I genuinely feel if they try if they try and sort of hold back or anything like that, that will play right into United's hands. It will give you guys enough time to sort of grow into the game and then start making them pay. And it does seem like Martial was continuing his goal streak as well, so could be his goals that you're needing in the PL as well. But
Yeah, hopefully him come back and make a difference.
do you think it will? Because it was back in the Champions League, but it didn't seem to.
Yeah, but it wasn't like after he got his goal, and then after Istanbul just went all out defensive, and then obviously that's where United struggle to break down a team that is purely defending.
Yeah, yeah. I I don't know if I've asked this before, but I guess looking at it now with Bruno Fernandes and Donny van de Beek, well, I suppose Donny doesn't play a lot, but I guess let's say with Bruno Fernandes, even Paul Pogba's passing ability, why do United struggle breaking down teams?
That's quite. I think it's just the movement, and they don't get enough movement in front of them. I think like Rashford, if Rashford and Martial are playing, they kind of end up in kind of the same position, and they don't stretch out defenses enough, so it doesn't really give them many places to go. Because you see them always trying to do 1-2 touch
Yeah. That's
and
one thing
try
they're
and
effective
flicks.
at, to be fair. Like, in and around the box, Rashford, Martial, and Greenwood, they're really good at, like, hitting the ball to each other and then bouncing it off each other really, really quickly. Like those 1-2s and flicks in behind that you're talking about. But I guess it's the just before you get to that area, just outside the 18 yard, um, the movement, I guess, that does need to be a little bit better. But yeah,
And they need that. I think they need that stone cold finisher like a Kane, which I don't know. Maybe Cavani can be if he's playing. That'll just make a chance and score it.
yeah, it could potentially, to be fair. He's got the potential to be that. But yeah, I'm not sure. Do you have anything else to add, Shabs?
No, not really. I feel like the midfield battle is going to be tough for United on this one.
Yeah,
Players like Alan and Doucouré are really good in the midfield and a lot of energy, a lot of work rate in there, and they're very
up and
aggressive.
down.
Yeah, so I feel like they might have similar issues to what they had up against Arsenal, to be honest. If Hammers and Dini are back as well, I was saying that earlier as well, I feel like it's going to be a tough one for United to win. But then United are one of those teams where they lose a couple of games, you think it's really tough, rumours of Ollie out and all that kind of stuff, and then next minute they'll go beat Everton 3-0, won't they? So
Yeah, that's it.
it's one of those ones.
For me, actually, just thinking about it in terms of what Naby's talking about, the movement, etc. I do think now you probably should start Cavani this game, and then have Rashford or Greenwood or Martial coming in, making runs in and around Cavani, and just having Cavani as that sort of central figure, if you will.
Yeah, I think as soon as Cavani is able to make at least 60 minutes, get him in, start him.
Yeah,
You need to start him.
yeah, I agree. Okay, cool. I guess we'll move to predictions now. I'm going for a 2-1 to Everton, and my player to watch, I am going with Iwobi.
No way.
Really,
Yeah,
really.
make it exciting.
Do you want anyone to make points?
Yeah. Do you know what the
Is
thing
he
is,
going to
right? If
start?
it won't, no, it probably won't. Depends on whether
You've gone from
James.
Saka and Iwobi now. You're just
Depends on
trolling
whether
everyone.
James starts, I guess. But it will be whenever he seems like sometimes when he comes on, he'll get an assist or he'll get a goal. You know what? Fine, I'll cancel. I'll go for Dominic Calvert-Lewin because I'm gonna bring him into my team anyway. Shabs.
I'm going to go Desmond, so 2-2. And play to watch, I think, will be Lucas Digne.
Both your predictions so far have been 2-2s.
No, I went 2-1 for the first game. I went
Oh,
Arsenal
sorry, it
to
was
win
Nabi
2-1.
that went 2-2.
Naby went 2-2.
Yeah, Nabi.
Yeah.
I'll go 2-1 United, and I'll say Greenwood. Hopefully, this is Greenwood's game.
Starts firing again. Cool.
Especially after being left at the England squad. This will be his message.
Oh yeah, true. True. Sweet. I guess now moving on to the meat on the bones. I would say probably your biggest challenge.
The
Well,
big
it is
one.
your biggest challenge so far, actually. Liverpool.
How big? I don't know what's the word. How big an impact you put on this game? How big is this game for the season?
Uh, they talk about like the 6 pointers. I don't know. It's one of those where it kind of is, but because it's so early on in the season, it probably won't be clustered. But we're talking 2 title challenges here, aren't we?
Yeah.
No matter how unpredictable the season's been, these teams are going to be there near the end of the season.
Yeah.
They're going to be around the top 2, at most top 3. Well, at worst top 3. So this is a title matchup, and if Liverpool can come away with anything but a loss, it's points gained. I would say
I would say this
because City are the home team, so
this favors Liverpool. Obviously, you're missing Virgil van Dijk, granted, but they're also missing probably one of the most potent strikers in the Premier League at the moment, in Sergio Aguero. I think that's
they have
probably
got Jesus back though.
yeah, but Jesus is Jesus. I get it, but he's not Aguero. And that's where
He's not, but not
I kind
many
of
are.
feel
But he did score midweek.
I feel this is kind of why City's goals have probably sort of dried up a little bit. Um, but yeah, um, no, I hear what you're saying about Jesus. I'm not disagreeing with that at all. But the point that I'm just making is Jesus is not going to send the same type of fear through your centre back pairing as facing Aguero would. You know, it would still be like, oh, we're playing Jesus, yes, but if you knew that Aguero was match fit and was playing, I think your centre backs, that's more of a, oh snap, this could potentially be a really long day for us. Um, but I would say it's less so the fact that it's uh Jesus playing. Again, that's not to take away anything from Jesus. He's just not yet at Aguero's level. Um,
There's not many are at Aguero's level when he's at his peak. To be
yeah,
fair,
that's true. So, how I guess would you like to see Pep Klopp approaching this, especially with the fact that it is City that you're playing, and you have Van Dijk missing. Is there anything that you would potentially want to change to shore up? Because the thing is now, the fact if you think that you said yourself that you're playing a little bit deeper now, that's going to play into City's hands because City like it when they have that space to play from when you're playing a little bit deeper.
I'd say our back line's a bit deeper. I wouldn't say that definitely then favours City. If anything, De Bruyne can't find that ball over the top like he would have done, like that space in behind, like what Aston Villa did against us. That won't be there in the same way.
But
And we
then
know De Bruyne's the best at finding the pass.
he then will be able to do those 1-2s in between your centre backs and your midfield, which he's also really good at. It's not just sort of finding that sort of killer pass. He can also move.
But it's
Um,
still better to be in front of the defence than to have so much space in behind that you can just ping it over the top for Sterling to run onto. I'd rather them have to play in front of us. Yes, they might have more of the ball, but a lot of the time they're at the Etihad. They're going to have more of the ball anyways.
mhm.
So I don't think that's more of an issue by the fact that we're going a bit deeper. I think that's the only way to go about it with the fact that we don't have Van Dijk. What I would do is I would bring Matip back in for this game. He was fit enough to be on the bench against Atalanta, but he didn't come on.
Mhm.
Um, so I would start him. I think this is a game a bit too far for Reece Williams, and I don't think I would go with Nat Phillips on this one because I don't think like he's obviously Nat Phillips came in and he did great with his aerial presence, but do we need that against City's front line? Not
Nah,
really.
yeah.
So I would prefer to have Gomez Matip partnership at the back. And then the key area, I think, in a lot of discussion that's happened, especially since the midweek hat trick from Jota, is whether Firmino starts or Jota starts or both.
With your bias
That's been a
towards
lot of
Firmino,
discussions.
I'm guessing you want Firmino to start.
No, they're both Liverpool players. I don't see why I would
Yeah.
go with Firmino.
Okay,
Um,
who would you?
I would like to see both, but I don't necessarily know how that works. But in my head, I can see a front three with Firmino just behind, or a fluid front four kind of thing, which we kind of did against Sheffield United. But not, I don't know necessarily how it works. I don't know if Klopp would prefer the midfield three up against City like he normally has, and with Firmino in there, I don't know if he loses a bit of the defensive stability or not. It's a tough one.
Would you not say
How did
you'd? On your go, Nabi.
I was going to ask? Did you not have a Twitter poll asking this?
Yeah, everyone's saying Jota. I've seen other Twitter polls, lots going out, and all comments basically suggest Jota should start over Firmino.
Yeah, and I
Um,
see because I get like I've always said this to you, like I get Firmino's contribution, right? But he can contribute all that, right? and still won't win you games, if that makes sense. Because he didn't play midweek and you scored 5. So I get his importance, but it doesn't necessarily mean to win a football game you need him to play. To win a football game, you need to score goals, and Jota's doing that at the moment without the need for Firmino. Um,
Klopp mentioned it because obviously he was asked a question after the Champions League game, and fair enough that it's going to be a question that's asked. And Klopp's point was there's different games that suit different players.
yeah,
The way Atalanta play suited having Jota in the team. That doesn't mean then necessarily that Firmino can't come in and have a different sort of effect against City that Jota might not have, or it might be that Jota might be more effective off the bench against Man City. So I wouldn't necessarily have a problem if Firmino started, but with obviously Jota being on fire, I think most people, including myself, would like to see Jota start
plus it's one of those you also
this
want
game.
to see on form players playing. He's currently on form right now. Sadio Mane and Salah doing what Sadio Mane and Salah do, and Firmino's the one who's not really been on form. So I guess that's another aspect as well. Like former player, for example, in Jota's instance, obviously it won't be like that at all. Because he's just come to the club, but it will get to a point where it's like, look, I'm on fire, I'm performing really well, I'm in form, but you're still not starting me. I guess kind of like
To be
Donny
fair,
van der
he
Beek
starts
a
his
little
fair
bit
share of games. He does start his fair share of games.
in the league.
Not always in the league, but Champions League,
No,
he does.
yeah, I guess the league is slightly different, isn't it? But
So are you going for midfield 2 or 3 against City?
I think it'll be a midfield 3
yeah,
with Henderson, Wijnaldum. I wouldn't even be surprised if he goes to the old Henderson, Wijnaldum, Milner
Milner
combination, which
brings
is
back memory.
brings back the old guard type of trio. I wouldn't be surprised. You might even see Naby Keita come in, but is he ready to start a game
Fitness.
against Man City? Not too sure. Is this a game a bit too much for Curtis Jones, who's only 18? Not sure on that one either.
And when's the
So the
Ox backs
midfield is going
again?
to be tough. There's no date on Ox at the
What
moment.
is up with the Ox?
Thiago's training, but he's training like he's kind of working on his own. I don't think he's back with full team training yet. So unless he comes back to full team training tomorrow, I can't see him coming back in for Sunday.
And is this the injury he got from Richarlison, or is this a different one?
No, this is the injury from Richarlison, yeah. Unfortunately, they decided to kick 2 of our best players out. One for the rest of the season and one for nearly was it about a
Well,
month or so now.
you did take out one of theirs.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, that's it's a bit of a strange one, wasn't it? That
I
one.
guess it's only
He did
fair.
play. He did play the week after, didn't he? And then
Yeah.
then he went out.
Yeah, but I to be fair, I just to sort of divert a little bit on that, I did find that a bit weird that Carlo Ancelotti mentioned that. It's almost like he was trying to say, well, the fact I think it's probably more to do with the fact that Liverpool was the Liverpool fans and everyone associated with Liverpool Football Club was literally treating it as Van Dijk has died. So that's
Yeah.
probably made.
Well, then they had like a book of comments, or book of remembrance.
Yeah, it's like the guy is injured for crying out loud. He's not dying. Soon they'll be like,
So, but
oh,
it's just well wishes, like you guys said. In ACL, sometimes you can never ever come back from them, like
yeah,
ever.
but
That could
like
be
you
your
said,
career
you seem
over.
pretty confident that it'll be fine. So
Well, as fans, we have to be confident. I never said it'll be fine. I just said he could come, even if he comes back 5-10%, he still should be able to go onto the pitch. But there's nothing we can say now. But we're talking about an injury that could end a player's career.
but yeah,
So
it
for him to
hasn't
just
though. I guess
for him
that's the
to
thing.
get, no, we don't know if it has or not. But
It's not like he was
for him,
like stretchered off. He
Yeah,
walked
he
off
walked off.
himself.
So I get what
but
you're
you can
saying.
walk off with ACLs. He ruptured his ACL. Whether he walked off or got stretchered off or got given crutches to help him off the pitch, he absolutely destroyed his ACL.
Yeah, but
I'm not sure what
I,
walking off or not walking off has anything to do with
I
it.
still don't think that and that's if it yeah I do feel like if it was that terrible it's one of those like uh would have
He's
probably
out
been
for the whole
stretched enough.
season. I don't know how much terrible you want it to be.
Yeah,
I don't think it went to this
career
much
ruining.
when
That's
We don't know if it's career ruining. That's the
but
point. We're talking 8, 9 months of recovery. We're
has he
not
had
talking
has
like
he
it's a
had his
few weeks.
operation?
His operation's been successful. That's
Yeah,
as
so
much as
it's
we
not
know.
career ruining. Because if it wasn't, if there was an issue, you would be. Now the operation's done. It's now just a process of rehabilitation. He'll be able to get back onto the pitch, but the
And
issue
like
is
we
the
said,
level.
exactly, which
But
could
that's
be
not
like
career.
it might
That's the
not. It
point I'm
might not.
making. It's
No,
not
but
career
it's not. It
ruining
might
though.
not. It might not end
Career
his career.
ruining is you can't
Wait,
play
wait, wait.
football
It might.
again.
No, it might not. It might not end his career per se in terms of like, he'll still be able to play football again. But could it end his Liverpool career? We've already discussed last
Right.
pod that
Okay.
we could possibly not see him play for Liverpool again.
With that
We're
caveat,
not
fair. I
asking
do
for
agree.
well wishes
I agree.
from
I
the
agree.
whole world, are we? It's just Liverpool fans hoping he comes back. I don't see what the issue is.
Yeah, he's not died though. Like, jeez.
No, but it's a tough road back. I'm sure you guys understand. When you're out for the rest of the season and you're just there on your own, dealing with recovery daily, never knowing if you really get back to how you were before, maybe never ever get back into the team again, you'll have all those doubts. So for fans just to like wish him well in
Yeah, but
recovery, I don't see the problem.
I think the reaction was just short of flowers outside the ground.
Yeah. Like I'm not even kidding you.
But there
It
was
was
no
a
flowers outside the
Oh,
ground, was
that's
there?
even worse. Oh my goodness. There were flowers.
It was just wishing him. No, there wasn't.
All right.
But
Okay. I thought you
they were
said there
just wishing
was.
him well.
Yeah.
They were just wishing him well. I don't see what the problem is.
No,
We're a family. That's what it
there's
is.
wishing someone well, right? And then there's literally overdoing it to the point where
So what did Liverpool overdo?
like
Explain what
a book of well wishes. Like I didn't even know about
It's
that
the
till
same
Nabi
as
mentioned it.
but it's the same as a card that you'd send to your family member if they're like in the hospital and had some sort of surgery. You get a card and you'll all sign it.
Nah, I'll just
It's
drop
the
him a
same thing, but
text.
it's
Just
Liverpool
drop him a
fine.
text. You'll be alright.
Okay, that's you
Pray
personally,
for
but
them.
it's normal. It's normal for people to send a get well soon card, isn't it?
But even like when Gomez broke his leg, I don't remember it being as much as it was from Van Dijk.
We're digressing a
It's
little
the
bit.
biggest name,
We're
isn't it?
digressing a little bit here in terms of looking at things that are a little bit irrelevant. But I guess in terms of the actual game itself, obviously Van Dijk will be a big miss. But how much of a big miss do you think it will be? Shams, do you think you still be fine enough to win the game without him?
We're good enough to win the game. We're good enough to win any game still without Van Dijk. We're just more at risk of losing games than we would have been before. That's all. But we've shown that we can still win games. We've shown we can even keep clean sheets. In the Champions League, we've played 3 games. We won all 3. We kept 3 clean sheets, and we got 9 points.
This is the point. This is the point that I've kind of been thinking, like, because not that I'm sort of throwing shade on them at all. Chelsea have been singing, "Oh, we've had 6 clean sheets on the row," but apart from Manchester United, they haven't really played anyone. Like I'm aware of that statement that, oh, you haven't really played anyone, but then at the same time we then say, oh, the Premier League is the hardest league in the world, etc., etc., which kind of two comments that contradict each other. But yeah, apart from, I guess for you guys, Ajax, is it? Since VVD's injury, I'm thinking.
Well, in terms of a decent
Who
team,
you've played, yeah.
you don't count Atalanta as a decent team.
Personally,
I know you guys are in the Europa League, but
no.
I don't think
Personally,
you've seen
no.
them enough to realise. And I'm sure, I don't know if Naby would agree, but anyone who's watched Atalanta in the Champions League last couple of years, they're a big threat going forward, massive threat going forward.
Yeah, but obviously
So for you to,
nothing at the back conceding 5 though, is it? Threat going forward, but nothing
that's
at the
not
back.
the point. I'm on about the clean sheet. I'm not on about the fact that we scored 5. I'm purely on about a clean sheet.
Oh, I was asking
you
on
clearly.
I was asking on the basis of just winning, because you're saying, oh, you still got the ability to win any game, which is totally fair. You do, but I was just meaning more on the basis of the fact that you're missing Van Dijk. Since then, you haven't really played anyone like a City,
To me personally, away to Ajax and away to Atalanta are massive games. I know Arsenal have been stuck in the Europa League for a while, but
I don't see what that's got to do with anything. You're not answering my question. Like
it's just as no. My point is, It's
You're
like
not
you've never seen
answering the
Atalanta
question.
play. Anyone who's watched the Champions League and watched Atalanta
But
play,
you're
it's
still not
massive to
answering.
win that game. It's a huge point to win that game,
And I'm
and you
sure it
make it
was
out like it's
massive for
nothing.
Man United to beat PSG as well.
It
So
was.
yeah,
I'm not saying
but
it wasn't.
at the same time,
Same as RB Leipzig.
Premier League, Champions League, two different competitions. I'm meaning in the Champions League, you keep on Premier League, you keep on diverting to the Champions League and Europa League for some reason. But
I think you're getting confused because basically said that Ajax was the only team we played with a reasonable name. So you pointed out the Champions League fixture.
okay,
I didn't.
in the league, you have since Van Dijk's injury, who have you really played to City's level? That's the point that This is the point that I'm trying to make, that you haven't played anyone to City's level that can threaten. But I
In the
guess
Premier League,
you
we
seem to think
haven't.
that Atalanta's up there with the cities, I guess. So
But you just said Premier League. Now you're going back to Atalanta.
no, because you kept
So
on. Apparently, I don't watch enough Champions League to know that Atalanta are some threat going forward.
they
So
are a very big threat going forward. And to beat Atalanta, I would have taken a draw against Atalanta. So to beat Atalanta and get a clean sheet shows a lot, and it will do a lot of good for their confidence.
yeah, and they
So
should clap for
obviously
themselves.
City is
But
the biggest
yeah,
one. Well, I'm just
So
saying you
so
made it
then
out like Atalanta are nothing, as if we played a
is
championship side, which is not what it was.
I
is City
didn't
then the
imply that.
first
But
team? Is City then the first team that you'd have faced that can then match your midfield? Then
I would say City is the first team we face, which would probably, if we play 100% and City play 100%, both teams are as good as each other. Um, would we ever be able to play 100% with our back line? Like even against Atalanta, Ajax, and even Midtjylland, we did give up chances and they didn't take them. Like keeper saved them, or the shots were off and things like that, or even hit the post and the bars and stuff. So there's been moments where we could have easily conceded a goal in Europe, which we haven't. Not purely down to our defending and sometimes a little bit of luck. So that's my worry. I don't see us keeping a clean sheet against City because City are more clinical than other teams. And they also have the ability to control a game that I don't think a lot of other teams do in the same way against us.
so say City get themselves like an early goal or a goal or two. Do you see Liverpool just continuing to do what they normally do? Do you see them trying to be a bit more shoring up to not get another drubbing?
I think an early goal will be a massive issue for us. I think an early goal, based on who starts in our defence, I think an early goal could cause a lot of issues with confidence. At least it won't be Adrian in goal, where I hope so. Touch wood, it's not Adrian in goal. I don't want to say it, and then suddenly Allison gets injured, like was training or something. But
Yeah.
yeah, I think it would be bad for Liverpool if City got an early goal. But I don't think we'd stop playing the way we want. I think Klopp will come in with the tactics, and even if City got an early goal, it won't be, we should suddenly sit back and try and stop more goals to go again. I think Liverpool will continue to play the way they want to play. But it's one of those big games, isn't it? It's one of those, it could go either way based on how teams come up and line up and things like that. So it'd be a very
do you
interesting
think
fixture.
Pep will try and go for it just due to the fact that you don't have Van Dijk at the back?
Well, in previous games and previous fixtures over the last few years, it's always been the one games where he's been a lot more cautious.
Yeah.
So maybe this is the opportunity where he actually thinks, you know what, there's no Van Dijk. Let's go more
for it.
forward. But the caution, a lot of the caution came from the fact that our front line are so good.
Mm-hmm.
And that's obviously still as it was, and actually probably more threatening because Jota scores more goals than Firmino would. So in terms of goal scoring, it's actually probably more threatening than it ever was.
Yeah.
So
Yes,
I still think he will have that caution to his tactics.
Last question for me on this. If Liverpool can win without VVD at City, do you then see anything stopping them getting the title?
I would like to say no. I can't see too much else stopping us if we can get a win against Man City at the Etihad.
But then
I think it'll be a bigger statement than Arsenal's win against United, to be honest.
Anyway, I guess the thing I was gonna say is you've got you've got a team who's fighting for top four and is comparing it to a team who's fighting for the title. But
The comparison isn't the levels of the
um,
team. The comparison is the size of the win. Arsenal's first win in 14 years at Old Trafford.
when was
I'm
the last time
saying
you won at City?
probably not as long ago. But
That's
in
where
terms of,
I'm refusing. Not
no, but
refusing.
my point is we've lost the best defender in the world
Mhm.
here. A lot of people started doubting us,
But you still
including your
have the
own
best
fans.
attack in the league.
So, arguably the best attack in
Yeah,
the
well,
league.
it's not
People
really.
start to argue.
Now, I
No,
guess
people do
if
like
you
to
look at
argue it.
Jota now with man for man, if you look at Mane, Jota, and Salah, just based on how they've started the season so far, you have the best league attack in the league. It's not arguable at all.
Well, I wouldn't want to argue it, but I would say it is. But I would personally say it's the best attack in the league, but
Yeah.
teams will argue otherwise. So I'm sure City would look to argue they have when
Well,
everyone's fit.
look at Aguero's missing, and they're firing blanks.
Well,
Um,
Sterling and Ferran Torres are still very good, and Jesus is back.
they are
They
very
probably got
good,
they got
but
the best midfielder
the
in the
point I'm
league
saying is
as
that
well.
they're not scoring a lot. They are very good, but it's all down to the numbers. You may be very good, but if you're not producing it, so far, it's no,
But
it's too
it
early, I
wouldn't.
guess.
Yeah, because I was going to say, someone like Sterling, just because he maybe hasn't scored huge amounts this season, doesn't mean he's not as threatening as a Mane or Salah, because his numbers over the last few years have been unreal, really.
Yeah,
So you wouldn't take that away. So
no,
it'll be a tough one, and obviously you got De Bruyne in the middle, who's obviously the best midfielder in the league. So
was
how much
the best
effect he
midfielder in the
has.
league.
Let's not get into trying to put Partey ahead of De Bruyne.
I'm
Yeah,
just,
don't even try that.
Don't even
I'm
try that.
just
That's not even worth. That'd
hey,
just be embarrassing for you if you even
hey,
try that.
we'll see, we'll see. But I guess now we can just sort of slide into the fantasy. Oh no, actually, Nabi, you've got a question, don't you?
We're not doing predictions for that game.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
prediction. Sorry.
and we got two other predictions as well.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Sorry, I didn't sound so dejected when I said. So starting with you, Shabs. Wait, okay, wait. We'll give you a minute. I'll start. I'm going for a 2-1 Liverpool win, and as I don't know, player to watch. Okay, I'm gonna go Mane just because he's in my fantasy team. It's between him and Jota. What about you, Nabi?
I'm going draw. I just don't know whether I go 1-1 or another 2-2. I'll
So
go 2. I'll go 2-2. Jota, man to watch.
and Shabs.
I'm gonna go 1-1, and I'm gonna go with Salah to watch.
The Egyptian prince, heir to the throne. Okie doke. And the next fixture to look at, we've got Chelsea versus Sheffield, and Chelsea are at home. And Nabi,
Who are Chelsea at home to again?
Sheffield United.
Sheffield United.
Oh, I'll go 3-0 Chelsea. I think probably Werner. Werner's getting going now, isn't he?
Yeah. And I will go 2-0. And I'm gonna go ZH. And Shabs.
I'll go 3-0 Chelsea as well, and I also think ZH is one to watch.
ZH. And then the last one, we've got West Brom at home to Spurs. Start with you, Shabs.
I'm gonna go 3-1 to Spurs, with Son to watch.
Nabbit.
That was exactly what I was going to go with.
Yeah.
So I'll say 3-2 Spurs and Kane to watch. No,
And
I'm going to go back. I'm going Son.
Son.
I'm going Son. Son away is actually done really well.
And I'm gonna go. Shall I go for a draw here? I see a draw happening.
You don't see a draw happening, but
I
okay.
see a draw
You don't honestly see a draw happening.
I see a 3-3. Uh, 3-1, and I'll go Kane. 3-1 to Spurs. Kane to start, as he likes to dive to get free kick penalties. Sorry. Yeah, Nabi. Before we move into the fantasy football section, you had a question sent in.
Yep. So
Quite an interesting one as well. Actually.
Another question from one of our regular listeners, Gavin. So thank you for your engagement.
Thank you,
And
Gavin.
his question was: pick 2 underperforming players at your club, 1 you back to turn things around, and 1 not good enough. So I guess I'll start us off. I know why he's asked this question because he wants me to bring up Dan James. So I will bring up Dan James, but I will put him as one of the persons. I'm gonna back him to turn things around, even though things are really against him. Because like when he has played, he's really had no impact at all. But I think he's just struggling with the form of the team's not going really well, and he has been mainly used for the counter-attacking games. So like the games against Man City, he'll usually play, and he's not really kind of had that yet. So he's not really been able to come into it, and he's kind of been in and out. But if they can get things back going and go back to that counter attack and play, then I think he'll come into it. So I'm hoping he'll turn things around. The one not I wouldn't say not good enough, but the one I don't think will turn things around. Maybe controversially, I'm going to go with Pogba because I keep hoping that it'll click for him and he'll become the player that everyone expects him to be. But
How
just
long has he been at United with people saying that now?
I know it's been like maybe 3 years.
Wow.
Something like that. And it's not happening. Keeps us sometimes it doesn't, but then it goes back to not. It's just too much up and down, and his mind, it it just does seem to be elsewhere. He makes too many comments about, oh, I'd love to play for Real Madrid or something one day. It makes too many of those kind of comments. So I don't see him turning it. He is underperforming, and I don't see him turning it around.
Fair enough.
So those are my 2.
For me, no, actually, I'll let Shabs have this one. I guess for the Liverpool team, it might be a little bit difficult actually. But yeah,
No, I have my option. So the one who's going to turn it around is Bobby Firmino.
I thought you were gonna say Adrian.
No. He's my other option. So Bobby Firmino will turn it around. I think a lot of fans aren't saying like he's done, he's out like permanently or anything, but a lot of fans feel like Jota should come in full form and he should be rested as maybe like a couple of weeks off, get himself back together and get firing again.
He is your big game
So I
player as
think
well, to be fair.
he is a big game player, and he also actually went on the last international break with Brazil and done really well, to be honest. So is it a bit of rest that he needs? I can see him turning it around quite easily, and it might just need that one big game where he scores like a couple of goals and it just then goes on a run where he's like fit and firing. So I think he'll turn it around. The obvious one for not turning it around is Adrian. He's not going to turn it around. He'll still be in the side because he's our backup keeper, and we're always going to dread if Alisson gets injured that he'll have to come in. But he's kind of like turning into a Karius where he's kind of a bit done at Liverpool, and we don't really want him there anymore. The other one.
Question then, sorry, before you move on, would you then bring Karius back and get rid of? I think I've asked this before.
No, I would get like someone like a Ben Foster or something.
Oh, so you completely get rid of both of them?
I think Karius is like someone who could do good elsewhere, but I think it's best he stays away from Liverpool. I think it's just too much of an issue of what he's had in the past and
PTSD from the fans.
Well,
every time he gets on the pitch,
like if he comes back on and unless he has the 90 minutes of perfect football, even one mistake and just everyone's going to be straight on his back.
Yeah.
So I don't think it's the team for him anymore. And I'm not saying he can't do well elsewhere, but it's just I don't think Liverpool's the place for him anymore. The other one who's not necessarily won't make it anymore, but causing a bit unsurety is Minamino. He's had his
Just as a
moments.
FYI to the listeners, by the way, that popping that you're hearing in the background, it's the 5th of November at the moment, so it's fireworks just going crazy, and unfortunately,
Yeah,
there's nothing we
fireworks is
could do
going a bit.
about that.
Yeah, it is going a bit nuts over it. So yeah, Minamino, I'm still a bit unsure. Like he's had a couple of games recently where he's come in and he's looked a bit rusty, and he's been around the club for a while now. Where I'd expect him to be firing similar to like Jota is. So I'm kind of starting to have reservations a little bit about him, but I hope he does come good.
How much
But
did you
yeah,
get
that's the
Minamino for?
About 7 million.
Yeah, it's never
So
really kind of kicked off from him, has it? It's never
No.
kind of
No,
gone from.
he's never actually kicked on and been able to push for a starting spot or anything like that. And even with Firmino form, like now obviously Jota's pushed for it and everyone's asking for it, but Minamino never
And I kind of feel
came in to do
that's
that.
probably why they bought Jota anyway, because Minamino doesn't seem to be kicking on, is it?
Well, Minamino is a bit more central / number 10, whereas Jota can play out wide. So they are slightly different, but yeah, he's not really kicked on in the same way what we saw when he was for Salzburg.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's kind of causing unsureties for my liking.
For mine, starting off with negative, a little bit controversial, but in terms of similar analysis to Adam's analysis for Pogba, I would say Lacazette for Arsenal. I don't think he's going to turn it around. He does have the up and down performances. Like at United, that was an up. I kind of felt, because he did really well. Won the ball a lot of the time in our final third. So he does have his up and down games, and then he has a game like he had against Leicester where he's just completely off. And one that is performing somewhat poorly that I do back to turn it around is Pepe. He's one that's still a little bit. He's not gone, pow, like the fireworks we're hearing. He's not taken um that position to be like, you know what, no, this is my position. But there's a lot of different factors that you can put in that. His first year interrupted. He had 3 different managers, etc., etc. But this season, I do kind of hope that Arteta gives him a period where he has like at least 5 games in a row where he's starting, and then you can then at least sort of judge better his quality that way. Because I don't think it helps anyone unless you're the Salahs, the Manes, the Aubameyangs of this world to be out this week, in next week, out this week, in next week. Some players are different. Some just need a consistent run of games to build up that confidence so that they can show what they're doing. Yeah. So mine that one I don't see turning it around is Lacazette. One that I do back to turn it around is Nicolas Pepe. And with that, sliding into the fantasy football corner, I will kick off because mine's relatively quick. Pretty poor week last week, I feel, below the average. But this week, I'm kind of stuck on two. I can't decide. So I got 38 points last week. The average was 53. In terms of my transfers, I want to take out Pulisic and Ings because Danny Ings is out for, is it 2 to 3?
4 to 6 weeks.
Oh, it's 4 to 6. Jeez, 4 to 6 weeks. And Pulisic, no idea. So I was gonna take out Pulisic, and my initial one was bringing Jota, but then Shabs mentioned that he doesn't know whether he will start or not. That's when I was like, oh snap, I might have to bring in Ziyech now. And up front will depend on whether I bring in Ziyech or not. Then my initial one was gonna be Werner. If I don't bring Ziyech in, I'll bring Werner in. If I bring Ziyech in, I don't know who to bring in. But yeah, that's sort of my dilemma. So I'm gonna take a points hit this week, to get another player in. I could potentially get Kane in actually.
A
That
Spurs player. Ooh.
Well, I already have Son, don't I?
Well, Son.
Oh,
If you get
2
Son.
Spurs players.
I could
Wow.
Oh,
potentially
two.
get Kane, and then he's
What
11
about
million.
Vardy?
Vardy is a shout as well. Yeah.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, I don't know why I'm not convinced. It's not one that I thought of. Um, that will leave. If I get Vardy,
He got a goal and 2 assists last
you
game.
leave me with 6.9. So
Okay.
yeah,
What
I'm not
about you,
sure.
Nabi?
Moving to you guys.
I was just going to say, just remember that it's a 4 p.m. deadline tomorrow.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
I'm making my
Well,
changes
I've made
tonight.
my changes.
Yeah, I'm making
I've
mine
made my
tonight.
changes already.
So I've made a trip. I've gone triple transfer. Yeah, I had
Is
a
that a
bad week
4-point hit only though?
with a 4 point hit. Yeah,
Right,
so
okay.
I had a bad week last week. Two of the players got zero, so I've gone triple. I've gone Jota. I think you just cannot ignore his form. And Klopp just cannot ignore his form. He has to start him. So I've taken out
You better
Saiss.
get on the phone to him, Nabi.
Oh, give me his number. I don't, you know I don't
We
have
kind
it.
of need that from you, Shabs.
I'm
I've
trying to win the fantasy football. Why would I do that?
Yeah, true.
taken out Saiss, taken out McGinn, and taken out James Rodriguez. Brought in Kilman for Wolves,
Yeah.
Jota and Grealish. So I'm
Oh, so you
hoping.
basically replaced Size for his actual replacement, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah, which is my dilemma as well. But what I've done is taken out Castagna, who's injured, right?
Mhm.
He was showing his red on mine. He was injured last week. I don't know if he's still injured. Or was it? I don't know what it was, but he didn't play for me last week, and it was either him or Sice because obviously Sice doesn't play anymore, so he's not worth it. But he's someone I'll probably take out next week. So I've taken Castagna out and brought. Oh, who have I brought in? Up another very good, very good defender. I'm sure. I've brought in Kufal. That's his name. West Ham's right. I'm sure. Yeah, West Ham. They're up against Fulham at home. So I
Oh,
brought him
snap.
in, and
Do we know if Antonio's back?
I don't know. I
Don't think
didn't look
so.
because I wasn't looking at strikers, so I don't
Oh.
know. And then I took out Helder Costa, and I've done the same as Naby, and I brought in Diogo Jota.
Yeah, fair.
Oh.
So right now I'm
But
currently.
I've left myself with 3 Liverpool players, and we're up against Man City away. So
That's a very good point, actually. That one hadn't crossed my. I don't not crossed my mind. I'd
but yeah, if
forgotten.
Antonio is back, then Fulham is a perfect game, I'm sure. So
I'm gonna bring in Ziyech and Vardy as opposed to Jota and Werner. Just
but yeah,
because now
I did have the best game,
I will
best
now
week of
have
the 3 of us.
three. I will now have 3 Liverpool players as well if I bring in Jota.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I had the best week out of the 3 of us, I think, just about. I got 51.
Oh, just below the average as well.
Have you taken
Yeah.
over Tinashe yet?
No, I'm 2 points behind.
Ooh.
So, I've taken a 4-point hit as well. Otherwise, I would have said that I'm ahead technically now, but I'd also took a
Covered
4
Lewin
points
or
hit.
Vardy
So. It's a tough one, I think. I
because
think you could
Leicester have
go
got
either.
Leeds.
Mm.
Vardy, then.
Yeah, I'd go just
No,
even
no,
long
they've got
term. I'd go
Wolves. Sorry, not
Vardy.
Leeds. They've got Wolves.
Well, Naby's gone Kilman, so it shows how much Naby's expecting from Vardy.
Yeah, and I have Connor Cody centre half in my team, but I could bench him.
Well, then DCL's up against Manchester United, so I'd
Exactly.
say
That's
bring
why
in
I'm thinking
DCL.
him. Yeah, that's why
But
I'm thinking
then,
him.
yeah, it's a tough one. I don't think Everton have been great lately, but that could be another stalemate. To be fair, but
Wait, who have Chelsea
tough
got?
decisions to make. Chelsea
Sheffield.
are at home to Sheffield. Yeah,
I might just bring Werner and Ziyech in. To be fair.
yeah, fair enough.
Oh, I can't afford Werner now. All right. No, that's fine. At least that's our changes. I guess. Yeah. Thank you very much for tuning in. To episode 19. We're nearly at 20, guys. Nearly at 20. Yeah. We'll catch up with you on the post-match podcast, which will be coming out next Tuesday. So thank you very much for tuning in to this week's episode, and until next time, Tonana.